gonna do what I want to do. Just vibe. Okay.
So what's going on, Dunces family? It's another episode of the Dunces podcast here with. This is my intro, Isandro. You're ruining things. Guys, we are back with another episode of the Dunces podcast on all your social media platforms and also a clip on YouTube just for you guys, special to see our beautiful faces here on this episode. Guys, we are here with Isandro and Johnny. Jeremy, unfortunately, could not make it today because his Wi-Fi sucks or something. I don't know. He's a waste of space. Anyway, guys, it's really nice seeing you guys.
Jeremy's
how you
not
doing
here
today?
because of the Biden administration. That's why he's not here.
Yeah.
What do you?
Except,
what are you
well, he
saying?
lives in
He didn't get
Ecuador,
deported,
though.
bro.
He lives in Ecuador?
Yeah.
By choice.
So now that we've gotten that out of the way, guys, last week we recorded a podcast and we said that we'd be doing this weekly. And look what we're doing today. We're back here again, another week with our lovely, beloved friends, with our fans listening to our take on Cam Reddish, which actually got a significant amount of listens. Everybody's telling me how excited they were that we're back. So, and by everybody, I mean like 3 people. But now we're going to talk about some new things that have happened in the past week in the NBA. For starters, guys, there's a reason why I don't have my Nets drip on. I mean, you see my Nets hat over there. But, yeah, KD is injured 4 to 6 weeks. He's out. I'm hearing news about Harden that he might want to go to Philadelphia, whether it's by the trade deadline or in the offseason. And Kyrie is a part-time player. And David Vanderpool just got fined like $15,000 or $5,000 for touching the basketball late in the game in a Washington Wizards game, which probably shouldn't have gone to us. Wizards should have definitely won that game, but it is what it is. And Paul Millsap wants to leave the Nets, and they have officially decided to part ways, whether it be a trade or by getting waived. So, guys, that is a lot on my Nets. First things first, though, let's talk about the Kevin Durant injury. How significant is this injury for the Nets and for KD for the rest of this season? Okay, Johnny, go ahead and you can start off on this one.
How significant it is for the Nets? We'll see, to be honest. Their schedule for the first part of this, their first real big road trip is starting right now. So we get to see a lot more integration of Kyrie and James Harden, more minutes for some other superstars. I say more minutes for other superstars, and when I say superstars, I mean Cam Thomas. We're gonna see how he gets integrated with a bigger role. To be honest, like I want to say Kevin Durant is gonna affect the Nets, but they do have 2 other All-Stars that should be able to
1.5, but yeah,
1.5, a part-time All-Star, and then we have a full-time All-Star in James Harden. This is gonna be we'll see if if you guys get it together on defense. How do you think you're improved on defense?
I'll be honest. I think as the season has progressed, ironically, our interior defense has actually gotten better, but our perimeter defense is still atrocious. Like we're letting anybody just shoot the lights out against us, which I hate. But when Claxton's on the floor, they look better. Yeah. But even then, it's still there's still a lot more room of growth, improvement that they need. But they need to pick somebody up, man. I mean, Paul Millsap was supposed to be like help, but he's old. He's washed. He's not really that significant of a contributor. Perfect. And Blake Griffin is anything. So, you know what I mean? Like it's, yeah, I agree. I think Paul Millsap would be great for the Lakers.
We'll take all your washed veterans because that's
like it's like DeAndre.
No, he's not a washed veteran. He is somebody who needs to just retire.
That is big difference. Which is
true.
Washed.
But yeah, I mean, 4 to 6 weeks is a very long time. Hopefully, you can hopefully that rehab process will take a lot quicker. But I feel like, in my opinion, you're gonna notice the Nets will be really good the first couple weeks. Then you're gonna really start to feel that presence of Kevin Durant really being missed. And my thing is, 6 weeks from now, I wonder if that injury will linger, and how fast is KD gonna ramp up back to his normal self?
It's similar to his injury that happened when he was on the Warriors, right? When he got hurt not in the playoffs. It was a little bit before the playoffs, where like one of his own teammates actually fell on his leg, and like it's basically the same thing that happened now with Bruce Brown falling on his leg. Now it wasn't as long because back in the Warriors it was, I believe it was like 8 to 10 weeks that he was out, but now with us, he's out 4 to 6. Here, I do want to read a stat though. It says that the minutes that he's played so far this season is 36.5 minutes per game. That's the most he's had in minutes since his MVP season back in OKC. So now he gets hurt. He gets reintegrated back, let's say in a few weeks, right? How are they going to be able to manage his minutes again? I mean, he's putting a lot of pressure right now for the regular season, and then the playoffs come around. Do you think he's going to be gassed? Like how is that all that's going to work out? I want to get Isanjo's take on this one.
If you're gonna, no, I was thinking like, if you really kind of look at it, I mean, that gas argument would be a good argument if oh my God, the gas argument would be a good argument if he played the entire season. You can make a case that this might be good for Kevin Durant because all the minutes he's been backloading, he gets a nice little rest and then he comes back fresh for the playoffs, which might be a little better. I think me and Sandra were joking. It's like out of all injuries Kevin Durant would have, it's the one where his teammate falls on him instead of like a wear and tear injury, which is like very terrible. But I'm looking at some of the reports here. Looks like my good man Justin Eladrier, the orthopedic surgeon that kind of evaluated this thing, he said that he avoided a big time injury. So we'll see.
I'll be honest, doctors always say that though, just to make it smaller than it really is.
To downplay it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that he's wrong because he could definitely be right. Still a little worrisome because it is his leg, and we all know what happens. But he should be able.
But from what I'm hearing, he should be able to be
make a full recovery. Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like maybe that rest could be good for them. You get a chance to really integrate Kyrie, because he's going to have a lot more responsibility. By the time KD gets back, Kyrie will be ramped up with a lot more minutes. James Harden, his play will be ramped up. You get a better Cam Thomas with more responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this could be a lot better than what's initially perceived, just because you're going to get probably the most out of your bench guys and see what you really have, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, Isandro, I want to get your take on the whole Kyrie situation with this now. So, John, you mentioned it, a lot of more pressure on him and Harden, the stars of that team, to really bold this team and make this team, one. Thing is, though, you can't really do that with a player that's part-time. So how do you feel about Kyrie? And do you think that this, even though he said it, he's not going to get back even with this KD injury, but do you think that as time goes on the next few weeks, if the Nets are losing games, you think he might reconsider, or what do you think Kyrie's head should be at?
Not at all. This is Kyrie. I think the conversation starts and ends with where his head's at. I think it's best. That's not even a conversation we should be having. It's Kyrie. However, I think this injury is a blessing in disguise because as the Nets with a part-time Kyrie, you want to drop down. You want to get that 5th seed, get that 6th seed, 7th seed even better. You know why? Because Kyrie is a part-time player and he cannot play in your home games. So why would you want home advantage? You don't want that.
Holy cow. Alessandro's a genius, bro.
You don't want Kyrie's he's playing checkers while we're playing chess, bro. Like we just couldn't even see it. It's crazy.
Hey, we just found the title of this podcast. Are the Nets tanking?
That is big facts. And I love that. Look at us. Look at Isandro, actually. Isandro, big brain energy with that big forehead. I love it. So now that we've gotten more into the whole Kyrie aspect of things, do you think that if this is their plan, if they do try to go down and go, 5th and below, do you think that's a smart strategy though? I mean, you kind of alluded to it because, you would want Kyrie to play, those away games, but what if the situation arises where now they're in game 6 and they're at home, but they have a chance to win it at home without Kyrie and they only have Harden and KD against a team like Milwaukee, and then rather than going back to Milwaukee in the playoffs and it's Kyrie, Harden, and KD, but now you're at Milwaukee's home. Like, how do you go about that?
That's something we probably shouldn't speculate on, because if we're going to be completely honest, if Kyrie is healthy at the end of the season, there's going to be some sort of concession made by that time. I feel like. I mean, we've already seen rumblings of the Nets paying fines for Kyrie.
Yeah, I read that.
They'll make something happen, I feel like.
And even then, like it's a what if conversation in general, right? Like what if I mean, what if they play fully healthy and they still lose that game 6 and then they go back and then they have to play a game 7? So it's like there's so many.
We're talking about the Nets, right? Because the Nets, like whatever will happen that's gonna go terribly wrong, that's probably will likely happen.
I agree.
I think, but I mean, if I'm gonna be completely honest, all jokes aside, the most likely scenario before the playoffs is that Kyrie goes on a missionary trip on Siberia and decides to find himself before the playoffs. And then it's just James Harden. James Harden Swiss cheese hamstring playing in the first round. And then KD playing 48 minutes every single night until he collapses on the floor. Until the point where the roster will be Cam Thomas, James Harden on one leg, Steve Nash as backup point guard, and Alfonso
Amari
Ellis.
Stoudemire.
Yeah. And Amari Stoudemire acting head coach.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's why I think that of all the teams, I mean, everybody's saying, the Nets still have the best chance of winning, besides the Warriors and Phoenix or whatever. Like, and Milwaukee, obviously, but the Nets have the best chance. They got KD, they got Harden, they got Kyrie, whatever. If I'm being honest, with a team that's going through so much off-court issues, with a team that has their best player injured right now, that has a Harden who's kind of in, kind of out. If I'm being honest, this doesn't look like a championship team to me, and I would not be surprised that if we get sent in the second round. Like, this is not, to me, this isn't an Eastern Conference Finals team. It's definitely not a Finals team. Unless they're all healthy, unless they're all playing all games, and they have the camaraderie, because they haven't had that. They've only played a few games together, that big three. And they can't even do that because now KD is hurt and Kyrie is only playing part-time. Like, there's so much with those big three that are just unanswered. So no, I don't think that they are an Eastern Conference Finals team. I don't think they're a Finals team. In fact, I give Milwaukee the edge to take it home in the Eastern Conference. But in general, I think the Western Conference team will win it this year.
Here's another interesting point. As I mentioned, how they could possibly stay afloat. I'm looking at their schedule here. Guys, give me yes or no's if the Nets will win this game. Tomorrow they play the Spurs.
No.
Give me yes or no.
Oh, no, yeah, we're winning the Spurs. Yeah.
I'd say yes for the Spurs. What about the Timberwolves?
No.
The Timberwolves.
No Wolves, no.
Lakers on Tuesday. Lakers on Tuesday, yes. Okay, next game. Nuggets versus Nets.
Give me the Nuggets.
Give me the Nuggets, right? Nets versus Warriors.
Warriors, 1,000%. Not even a question.
Nets versus the next thing after that. Nets versus Suns.
Not even a question. Suns.
Nets versus Kings. It depends on the availability of Tristan Thompson.
Give me the Kings.
I'll take the Nets.
It depends on what Tristan Thompson's doing the night before. Next game. Nets versus Jazz.
Jazz.
Oh, I mean, Jazz have been sputtering the Jazz on the road, right?
I'll take
then you play the Nuggets again. Then you play the Celtics. Then the Wizards.
Okay. Wait. We're beating the Celtics. Celtics up.
No, they're losing against the Celtics.
Nah, we're winning.
Chris Smart's gonna drop 30.
Shut up. We're winning.
Then you play the Kings, depending on what Tristan Thompson does in New York. Knicks, Wizards, Celtics, Bucks, Raptors.
Now, okay, everything that you're mentioning right now, though, what games are home? Most of those games are away. So Kyrie is available for most of those games, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Kyrie is available for most of those games, but even then, you're banking in on a player that's going to be balling out in the West Coast, and then they got to come back to Brooklyn, and then Kyrie can't play. You know what I mean? Like, do you see where my head's at as a fan and
balling out to really give?
I mean, I think he will. If I'm being, it's Kyrie. I mean, he's boxed.
I mean, he's great, but you can't expect the player to drop 30 every single time he plays just to give you the value back because he's not playing every game.
I do.
With Kyrie, I think I can give him. I don't see him averaging anything less than 30.
You guys remember that Celtics versus Warriors game where Kyrie and Curry went off both for 40? I feel like that's what's gonna happen. Then they play, because Kyrie's just gonna take advantage of every road game. Once he gets the keys to just go crazy, he gonna drop 40 every road game. I promise you.
That's facts.
25 to 30.
Yeah.
Barring the random off night, which happens, it's normal. Let's just temper things already. All right.
Yeah, it's there's a lot with the Nets. I think I've kind of ranted a little bit about them. But not the whole Paul Millsap thing is also. I don't know. We just got to shore up some stuff.